Good morning. I don't like any of this. Uh, I don't like the 30-second countdown gone. Um, this morning I tried to, because I'm out of Facebook jail. Woohoo! I'm out. You know what? I'm gonna take my glasses off. You know what makes me laugh? Uh, how do I put this? Someone on I saw someone on Instagram, which Instagram is owned by Facebook. Okay. And this person on Instagram is doing reckless things. Like they're driving 135 miles an hour. As a matter of fact, this person posted a video where he almost hit a pedestrian on a bike. Okay. And he's posted this every single day. And he's not in jail. He's not in Instagram jail. But I post a picture of me and Shane, and I say we left it all, meaning we left the farm to go to a hotel to get away. And I get in Facebook jail for a month. And I was talking to Shane about it. I said, it's almost like if you have a following, you get held to a higher standard. Kind of reminds me of being a preacher. You know how like preachers get, you know, held to a higher standard because they're preaching. It's like I'm held to a higher standard because I have a big following on Facebook. And it's like, it doesn't matter that I was paying $150 a month just to be verified. You know what I'm saying? I'm a train wreck because I put that picture and I get in Facebook jail for a month. But this person that's doing reckless driving, almost hitting pedestrians, popping wheelies on a motorcycle in a local neighborhood, a dirt bike, not a motorcycle, a dirt bike. They don't get in Instagram jail or Facebook jail, but I do. That makes a lot of sense to me. But anyway, what I was saying is I went because I'm out of Facebook jail and I went to go live on Facebook and YouTube for the first time. And because I don't pay for Instagram, they won't let me do that. I was like, before this, y'all go with me here for just a minute and then I'll get to the subject. I know y'all are going to feel my pain. I have, over the past, I don't know, week, during this time of year, the winter, I make no money on Sneed's Farmhouse because no one comes in tours. No one's doing field trips. No one's, calling me for the library because it's the holidays. It's cold weather. No one's thinking about going to a petting zoo in the freezing cold, right? With their kids or whatever. So I make no money between usually November, December to February. Usually it picks back up in March. So I go a long period with no money at all trying to figure out how to survive. And it's always difficult. And I always get in left field. I'm like, no one cares about Steve's Farm. I'm just going to quit. Like it just gets hard. And so I was looking at my bills this morning, trying to figure out how I could cut back. Okay. And I was like, why? Nowadays, it's enough that my power bill is like $700. Okay. My grocery bill is like $300. Now that'll change because Larry's not here, but our grocery bill was like $300 a week. Then you look at your cell phone bill. My cell phone bill is over $200, and I don't have Shane's cell phone on my phone. I literally have my watch and my cell phone. And I have been with Verizon forever. I think since 2005 or 6. Okay. And I'm like, it's not enough that your grocery bill's high, your power bill's high, your cell phone bill's high, but then all of a sudden we have to pay for Wi-Fi, which, back in the day we didn't pay for Wi-Fi. That's an extra $100. And then, you know, if you buy cameras, you got to pay for the app. Nothing's free. And then if you're going to have Gmail, they want you to pay monthly for the storage. And I told Shane, I said, sometimes it just gets to be just too much. And it's like, in order to go live on 2 platforms, you got to pay $88 a month. Would I want to go StreamYard? I don't even make that a month off my lives. It's like, sometimes when is enough? Like, when do you go back to the basics? Like, when do you go back to the good old days where your grocery bill was $100 a week and you didn't have to pay to send an email? You didn't have to pay. I find myself deleting emails. I'm so over emails. I am constantly deleting emails because if I don't, then my emails, they were like, you've got 2 days to either pay for iCloud storage or your emails are going to cut off. And it's like, really? And it drives you insane. And it's like, if you take pictures and you want to keep your pictures, well, you're going to have to pay for iCloud storage because you can't keep them. And I thought, the next thing I know, it'll be like, in order to save photos on Facebook, you're going to have to pay for storage. It's like, but the salaries are not going up. Like, Sneeze Farmhouse is not going up, but all my bills are going up. It's like feed's going up. I mean, it gets to be overwhelming. Ugh. Okay. Enough of that. First of all, I have some good news. Last night, I had planned on going to see Larry yesterday, but that all changed when I got a phone call from the nursing home that they needed to have a meeting with me over the phone to go over his care plan. So I had to stay home for that. And then I guess it's called Durham Medical Equipment people called and said, I'll be there in the next 3 to 4 hours to pick up his concentrator and all that. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to the nursing home today. So, and then I had to put his name and all of his clothes and all that stuff. So I told Shane, I said, hey, I said, I need help getting Larry's stuff to the nursing home. I mean, I had to take all his diapers, and there must have been 8 packages of diapers. And I said, I can't do all this by myself. I need help. So when Shane got off work last night, him and I went to the nursing home, and we walked into the door. Larry was happy as ever, smiling, eating his 2 hot dogs, loves his nurse, loves the food, loves his room, loved his TV because they figured out how to put it on where the picture's big and he can see it really good. And I asked him if he wanted to bring his TV. He said, no, I like this TV. And I was like, I looked at Shane, I was like, what the? And I said, well, have you been hitting your button to call the nurse? He goes, oh, I called her for cups of coffee. I called her for tea. I called her for my pain medicine. I thought, wow, this is a blessing. Now, keep in mind, right now, he's by himself in the room. There's no roommate, so that might change when a roommate comes in there. But as of right now, he was really happy. And I told Shane, I said, this is going to be the biggest blessing for Larry because of a couple of things. You know how I tell you that no one ever comes to visit Larry? Well, the nurses come in the room all the time. the CNAs come in the room all the time. Like, there's someone in the room at least every hour checking on him, bringing him snacks, bringing him food, and and he's gonna enjoy that. He's gonna enjoy that. All right. Today, before I get ready, I wrote some notes down. Um, I'm gonna get ready when I talk about this. I have been feeling a lot of resentfulness. I have been resentful to a lot of people, starting with Larry. I've been very resentful to Larry, and that triggered me to be resentful about my mom, about my dad. The resentfulness has turned into anger. I'm angry at my mother. I'm angry at my dad. I'm angry at my stepmom. I'm angry at Larry. I'm angry at my family. I am angry at a lot of people. And I'm calling it resentfulness because I'm going to start with my mom. I resent my mother because my mother, I told you guys, if you've been following me a while, my mom had a stroke at 52 years old. Okay. And my mom was bedridden for 11 years. My mom had diabetes. My mom found out she had diabetes when I was in high school. My mother almost died when I was 17 years old, and my mom almost died. My grandparents had to come stay with us because I had a single mom. And my mother had found out she was diabetic, and she had blood clots everywhere. So my mom was in intensive care, and it was a touch and go when I was 17. We thought we were going to lose her. And when she got out of the hospital, I mean, my mom lost her eyesight. Okay, it was a lot when I was 17. It was a lot. And we were trying to graduate high school, and it was just a lot. It was a lot. And I remember, thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to have to go live with my grandparents, because my dad didn't really step up to the plate. Okay. And so when my mom got out of the hospital, you would think that would have scared her, and she would go, oh, I better eat right. My mom was overweight. But she didn't eat right. As a matter of fact, I can't tell you how many times that we would catch my mom sneaking. Like, she would get up in the middle of the night and be that person in the closet eating chocolate, like chocolate covered cherries. I remember this one night, she was in the closet, and this is when she was married to Larry, but she was in the closet sneaking chocolate covered cherries. And my mom was in and out of the hospital from the time I was 17 until she was 52. Okay. And she was married to Larry. She got married to Larry in her late 40s. Okay. I think they were married 5 years before she had her stroke. So she really made the doctor was like, you're going to have to eat right. You've got to, exercise. And my mom just would not do it. As a matter of fact, when she was married to Larry, she decided that she was no longer taking her medicine because it didn't work. And she just quit taking her insulin. So what happened? At my brother's reception, My brother was getting married. At my brother's reception, my mother got so sick because she quit taking her medicine that she was transported by ambulance from my brother's reception to the hospital and was barely going to make it. Like, it was not good. Okay. Not good. And so I resent her for not taking care of herself because it seemed so easy to me to go, Mom, it's life or death. You either, I mean, I know it sucks to quit eating sugar, but you're going to die. Like, you're going to die, Mom. She didn't care. I mean, she, until she got bedridden and couldn't get up and go get her own chocolate or sugar, she was going to eat sugar. She did not care that she literally had a severe diabetes. Her blood sugar was over 600 when she lost her eyesight. Okay. It was just not good. So I was very angry at her. Okay. So I was very resentful because I didn't understand. My dad, as a child, my dad was an alcoholic. Okay. So it's enough to have your mom in the hospital dying, not taking care of herself. But I also had an alcoholic father that was in and out of rehab my whole life. Okay. I don't know if he did drugs. He probably did. But I do know he was an alcoholic. And so I remember in high school, I used to write him letters. And I used to say, would you please quit drinking and smoking? I used to beg him. I mean, and I was a kid begging my dad to quit drinking and smoking. It went in one ear and out the other. And my dad ended up getting lung cancer because he couldn't quit smoking. And I will say, I know my dad tried to quit smoking. I mean, I remember him taking Chantix. I remember he went and got hypnotized trying to quit smoking. And he was like, I can't quit. And I resented him for drinking himself to death and smoking himself to death. I resent him because my dad and mom died very young. Now let's go to Larry. I knew when my mother got sick, when she was married to Larry, I knew something wasn't right. Larry couldn't do simple tasks, like he would not brush my mom's teeth. I don't know why. And I remember going in the room going, her teeth got to the point where her teeth were rotten. When my mom was bedridden, she couldn't bend. Her body did not bend. And the only enjoyment she had was to eat. She could barely, like, she couldn't talk right. She was paralyzed on one side of her face. Her body was paralyzed from her neck down for 11 years. And I wanted Larry to brush my mom's teeth every day. And I remember going in there going, brush her teeth. Brush her teeth. And he couldn't do it. And it made no sense to me. And I remember when she first got sick, he goes, y'all have got to do her stuff. I can't handle it. I can't do it. Mom had property. Okay. And he was like, y'all are going to have to do something with the property. I can't do it. And I remember thinking, why can't he do it? You know, like, because Larry did not raise me. I did not live with Larry. I've never lived with Larry. Larry never raised me. Okay. So, he wasn't, quote, a father figure to me because I wasn't raised with him. He didn't teach me right from wrong. You know, like, things a father does, because he wasn't in my life until I was already moved out of the house when my mom married him. So I knew something was different. And I remember telling Shane, I said, one day I'm going to have to take care of him because he can't do it. Like, something's not right. Like, something is not firing in that brain of his. And when my mother passed away, I inherited Larry. And I told him when he moved in with me, I said, because he had COPD when he moved in with me and was still smoking like a chimney. Okay. He was a smoker that got up in the middle of the night to smoke a cigarette. He used to stay with me and my ex-husband. He used to stay with us 2 weeks or a week at a time. I would go get him and he would come stay with us. This was after my mom had passed away. And he would get up in the middle of the night and go on the back porch and smoke cigarettes. And I thought, who gets up in the middle of the night to smoke a cigarette? Well, when he moved in with us, and I didn't know he had COPD. I knew he couldn't breathe, but I didn't know he had COPD because I didn't go to the doctor with him. And then when I ended up inheriting him, what ended up happening is he ended up going into the hospital because he had depleted all his electrolytes. And the doctor said, when the doctor realized why he lost all his electrolytes, and the reason he lost it, it's a long story. I'm not going to get into it. But he said, I don't think he can live by himself anymore. So Shane and I took him in, and I really thought it was going to be temporary. I thought, well, I'll nurse him back to health and then he'll go home. And I did. I nursed him back to health and he never went home. And when he moved in with us, I said, I'm here to tell you, cigarette smoke gives me a major headache. So if you move in with me, you're going to have to quit smoking. And he did. He cold turkey quit smoking because I wouldn't let him. And he smoked. I think he said he started smoking when he was 14. So he smoked his whole life. Well, when it came to be on oxygen, I don't know anything about COPD because I've never dealt with it. But he cried like a baby not wanting to be on oxygen. And I thought in my head, I didn't say this out loud, but I thought, I don't know what you expect. If you're going to smoke your whole life, at some point it's going to catch up with you. Like, that's how life works. Like, you can't breathe. It's either oxygen or die. Like, which one do you want to do? Oxygen seems really simple to me because I'm not the one doing it, right? So as time has went on and I've kept Larry and I've watched him give up. Give up meaning when Larry got cancer 2 years ago, the doctor said, I want you to go to physical therapy while you're doing radiation because you're going to get weak. And he cried like a baby not wanting to go to physical therapy. And I was like, me and the doctor were looking at each other going, why is he crying over physical therapy? Like, he was bawling like a baby not wanting to go to physical therapy. And I was like, and the doctor said, well, I can't make him. And I said, and then she said, I want you to go to the cardiologist and get your heart checked before you do radiation to make sure you're all okay before we start radiation because you're going to get weak. He cried like a baby and didn't want to go to the cardiologist. And I'm sitting there going, I'm sitting here trying to take care of you and you're refusing all the doctor's care. I don't understand. like why? It's not like you're going to have heart surgery. You're literally just going to get your heart checked. But for some reason, He refused to go. And the doctor said, well, I can't force him to go, but these are the consequences. If he has heart trouble and does radiation, things could go really bad. Or if he doesn't go to physical therapy, he's going to fall. He's going to be a fall risk because he's going to get weak. Well, he refused to go. And I'm just like, oh, if he don't want to go, I don't know what to tell him. Okay, he's not going to go. But he understands he may fall. But in his head, I'm not going to fall. I'm good. What did he do? He fell. And he broke his tailbone. And he broke his transverse processor bone. And then we ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks. So I had a lot of resentment because I'm like, why do these people not take care of themselves? Because when I was taking care of Larry and I started getting resentment, it triggered the resentment from my parents. It brought up memories of my mother laying in the bed for 11 years, and I was so resentful. I was so mad at her. It brought up my dad. It brought up the pain that I felt from my dad going, like, what do you expect? I don't understand. It brought up a lot of pain. Now, I am the person that can get in someone else's shoes. And I can get in my mom and my dad's shoes and go, I don't know what it's like to smoke. I've never done it. I don't know what it's like to quit. I don't know. But does that fix my resentfulness? No. I could say, well, I do know what it's like to be addicted to sugar because I am. I'm not diabetic. I'm very blessed. But does that fix my resentfulness of my mom? No. I'm mad because they died. I'm like, you could have seen your grandkids grow up. You could have seen your grandkids get married. But you chose to eat sugar and and quit taking your medicine. And now you're dead. I'm resentful. And all this has been brought up with Larry because I'm very resentful to Larry. Larry did not have to stay in his room all the time. Larry chose to. Larry could have gone to physical therapy and got himself strong and not fallen, but he chose not to. Larry could have gone to the heart doctor to get a heart check and keep himself healthy, but Larry chose not to. Larry chose to sit in my house, in my room, and me go in there every day and take care of him. That's what he chose. That's what felt good to him. But in the meantime, I'm the one running myself ragged. But the choices that he made in life has brought me to resentfulness. And it didn't stop there. When you find yourself resentful, it goes to like, I'm resentful to my family because I feel like I've been left alone. Do you see anybody else in my family helping me with Larry? Do you see anybody else calling and going, how are you doing? Do you need help? Hey, why not come stay with him this weekend and you and Shane go away? You go to Green Acres and y'all have y'all been doing this for 8 years. Let me come. Let me keep Larry for a weekend. No one does that. No one has ever done that. I feel resentful. Because what happens is when you feel resentfulness, it triggers other things you're resentful for. And then what happens is it starts piling up. It starts all piling up. And then you find yourself mad at everybody. Like you're just mad at everybody. You want to call everybody and just rip them a new one and go, let me tell you, you're mad. And when you're resentful and you're trying to take care of someone, it's hard to separate yourself from resentfulness and being a caregiver. It's hard. Because what would end up happening is Larry could go to the kitchen. He went to the kitchen multiple times a day. But he wanted me to bring him his food. Larry likes to be taken care of. Larry would want me to bring his food. He wanted me to do everything. And it got to be where I was just, as a caregiver, I was exhausted. I literally was exhausted because y'all, Shane goes to work. It's me. It's me. I'm trying to do YouTube and I'm trying to do Facebook and I'm trying to film and I'm trying to edit and I'm trying to run Sneed's Farmhouse and I'm trying to do and on top of doing Larry. It was like I was resentful. I'm like, dude, if you can go in the kitchen, you can fix yourself a sandwich because you do it all the time. I watch you on camera. But I began to get resentful. And am I proud of that? No. But I'm a channel that talks about hard times. I'm a channel that is truthful. Most people don't talk about the things that I talk about because it's almost embarrassing to go, I'm resentful. My parents are dead and I'm still resentful. Like, that sounds awful. You're like, Judy, get over it. They're dead. They've been dead since 2008. Like, dude, get over it. But what happened as I began to watch Larry just decline and decline and do nothing about it, they would go, let's bring in physical therapy. I don't want to do it. So you're just going to lay here and die. So you want to lay here and die and let me take care of you until you're dead. So you're going to do nothing to take care of yourself. When resentfulness comes upon you, it piles up. And over the past, I don't know, couple of months, I've been going, what is this all about with me? What is this resentful? I'm not resentful that Larry lives with us at all. Not at all. I'm not resentful that I'm taking like that, what he needs, like doing his medicine. I'm not resentful for that. I have shortchanged myself and I say, I am not a caregiver. I'm just not. I've said that. I've said it to you. But the truth is, I am a caregiver. And a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot of people, Judy, you're not a caregiver. I was a caregiver to my mother. My grandmother lived with me. I took care of my grandmother to the day she died. My grandmother lived with me 2 weeks out of the month. I lived in an apartment, okay? Because I had gone through a divorce. My grandmother shared a bed with me 2 weeks every month. I literally used to drive to her house to get her. And she lived with Anson and I. So yes, I do know what it's like to be a caregiver because I've been a caregiver my whole life, to be honest. And I sit here and I think in my head, okay, what is this resentment about? Why am I mad at everybody? Because when you break things down, you got to figure it out. What is this? I don't want to be resentful for the rest of my life. So, what is this about? So, I've been doing some studying on resentfulness, and I want to share with you some things that I learned. When you're trying to figure yourself out, you got to break things down. And I learned that resentfulness is part of the grieving process. So it's actually normal. So once I read about resentfulness and read that it's part of the grieving process, I realized, wow, I'm normal. I'm not abnormal. I'm not a bad person. I'm not this terrible caregiver. I didn't just throw Larry in the nursing home. I didn't just give up on my mom and my dad. I'm not the only person that's mad at my family because I'm a caregiver. This is normal. When you're grieving, your emotions don't stay in neat little boxes. Resentfulness often shows up when you're feeling overwhelmed. You're carrying so much responsibility and it feels unfair. That pressure can turn into resentfulness. Also, resentfulness shows up when you feel abandoned. Losing someone or slowly losing them from because of an illness can stir up anger towards them, yourself, and even the situation. Another thing that will turn like when resentment turns up when you've been a caregiver for a long time. Caregiving comes from exhaustion, guilt, and heartbreak. Feeling resentment doesn't mean you don't love the person, it means that you're actually a human being. When does resentment show up? You're processing, why did this happen? So resentment shows up when you're trying to process, like, why is this happening? Anger is one of the known stages of grief, and resentment is a form of that anger. Having moments of resentment does not mean you're a bad person. It means that you're carrying a lot of heavy emotional weight for a long time, and your heart is trying to make sense of something painful and unfair. The key is not to get stuck in resentfulness, but to let it move through you. Resentfulness is often a cover for exhaustion, feeling unappreciative, feeling trapped, feeling guilty, and feeling like you've lost parts of your person. You're not wrong for feeling resentment. In fact, acknowledging it is the first step towards releasing it. Give yourself permission to be a human. You've been doing the work of three people: a caregiver, a daughter, and an advocate. No one can carry that without cracking. You can love someone deeply and still feel anger, tired, and resentful at what the situation has taken from you. These emotions do not make you a bad daughter. They make you a human being and at an impossible situation. So stop judging yourself for being resentful. You're not choosing it. You're reacting to sleepless nights, hard decisions, watching someone decline, feeling blamed or guilted, feeling responsible for everything. Anyone in your shoes would feel the way you feel. How do you release the guilt? Guilt is what traps resentment and makes it grow. Ask yourself, if my best friend were going through this and felt this way, would I judge her? Of course you wouldn't. You'd probably tell her she's doing the best she can because she is. Give yourself the same compassion that you would give anyone else. And talk about what hurts. Right now, you're trying to carry your grief privately, but grief needs air. You can talk here. I do feel like I can talk with y'all. I feel like that if you're feeling resentment, um, if you're feeling resentment, I want you to know that you're not alone. Like, especially when someone dies, maybe you never felt resentment. Maybe you're like, well, I took care of my grandmother my whole life, and I never felt resentful. And I feel like, well, that's great. That's great that you have never felt resentfulness. But a part of resentfulness is grieving, and I am grieving. I am grieving. I uh I grieve. And if you've lost your parents, you know what I'm talking about, but uh I grieve for the loss of my mother. My mother was the backbone to my family. My mother, you know how you have that mother or grandmother that kept your family together? Okay, that was my grandmother and that was my mother. And when we lost them, my family never got back together. Oftentimes, I find myself what the heck? Hang on. Oh Lord, don't tell me my curl nine's broke. Let me try another plug. Hang on. There it goes. When you lose your grandmother or your mom that was the backbone to your family, you get me. Most of us probably have. Like things have not been the same since mother died, or things have not been the same since my grandmother died. And I'm pretty sure 99.9% of us have felt that. You know, maybe you used to have family reunions, and when grandmother died, no one gets together anymore. It's like you got to force yourself to get together. But back when grandmother was alive, when she said we were having a family reunion, by God, we were all there. We knew we had to be, right? Like it was just understood. But as soon as she left, like the next generation didn't have the same values that grandmother had. And I find myself alone a lot. A lot. Especially during holidays. I'll give you an example. This was the hardest thing for me. My son, they're having a baby. And they're having a baby this month. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to be able to put this baby on social media. I wished I could be Jamie and show y'all the baby, but they prefer not. And I get it. Like I do get that. But they're having a baby. And I want to say it was last month. Yeah. Last month they had a baby shower. And I went to the baby shower. And I don't know, but I guess about the middle of the baby shower, they had this little, I guess you'd call it a little photo booth with balloons, and it had baby Clendenin on it. And like all her family got up and around it, and they wanted a family photo of her and Corbin and the whole family. And they took this beautiful picture. Then it was time for Corbin's dad and his whole family to get up because they wanted to do a family picture. And all the Clendenins got up and they took a family photo, and I'm sitting there by myself. And I'm looking around. I'm like, well, must be nice. I'm sitting there by myself. I'm sitting there by myself because my mother's dead. My dad is dead. Larry's at home on oxygen. My stepmother has lung cancer. My brother's on drugs, in and out of jail. My other brother has 6 kids and doesn't have time to do nothing. And he's got a father-in-law that lives with him. And then there's me because Shane was at work. Or I don't, yeah, I think it's Shane. Or Shane was hunting. And I'm sitting there by myself. And I have no one to take a picture with. And I don't know whether to cry or be pissed. And I come home from the shower and I'm just pissed. I'm pissed at everyone. I'm like, I can't stand my brothers. I can't stand my sister-in-law. I can't stand Larry. I can't stand my mom. I can't stand my dad. I can't stand Shane. I'm just resentful. And I come home and I wanted to go, because you smoked your whole life and sitting here on oxygen and refuse to do physical therapy. And now I have to run home. I can't even stay for the shower the whole time because I'm in a hurry to get home because you're bedridden. I feel so angry. My granddaughter is due any day now. As a matter of fact, she's 2 centimeters dilated, head down, and the baby already weighs 6'10", and she's due December 20th, but the doctor said she could go any day now. And I can remember back when my kids were born, I can remember everyone at the hospital, my mom, my dad, everybody was there waiting on my child to be born. Everyone, like my husband's parents were there, the sisters, the aunts, like everybody was there. And I'm having anxiety about, am I going to be sitting in this waiting room by myself? Like one of the most exciting days of my life. My first biological grandkid. Am I going to be sitting there like in the waiting room, like so excited? And am I going to be sitting there by myself? And I was like, yes, I will be. Yes, I will be. And when that happens, resentfulness just creeps up and it piles up. And when it happens, like I said, I'm not just resentful to Larry. I just keep piling it up. And the resentfulness turns into anger. And it's just like, it's out of control. And I'm like, okay, Judy, now that you've named what's wrong with you and you know that resentfulness is normal, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it so that it doesn't creep up? I'm going to be honest with you. When something keeps creeping back up and is like a trigger to you, like if you start feeling angry because of certain situations and you find yourself doing it all the time, I don't feel like it's ever going to completely go away. But it can be managed. And how do you manage it? How do you manage something that keeps creeping up? Like this resentfulness and this madness that I have at everybody and their grandmother. How do I control it? Because it happens all the time. As a matter of fact, uh, uh, my son, they had a birthday party because my son and his fiance, their birthday is in May, and they had a surprise. They said, "We want to have a birthday party," and I was thinking, like, why do they want to have a birthday party? They're literally almost 30, but okay, we'll go. And all the Clendennons were there. All Raquel's family was there, and there was Judy. Now, my two kids are there. Don't get me wrong. But to tell you what happened was the reason they had the party is because they surprised us and told us that she was pregnant. And again, there's me. Everyone takes a picture. Everyone gets to experience that moment. And then there's me. So, how do I fix all this? That is the $1 million question. How do you fix anger and resentment? How do you fix the feeling of feeling lonely all the time? I feel like, first of all, is recognizing where it comes from. And I did. I recognize where it comes from. I'm angry. I'm really. I'm angry at my parents. I am. I'm angry at my mom. I'm like, Mom, you could have been here. You could have been here for this Corbin's baby. But instead, you decided to not take care of yourself and quit taking your dang medicine. It's almost like you committed suicide. Like, I have to be careful saying that. It's just, how do you, and I'm working through this as we talk. How do I fix resentfulness? How do I break this down and fix resentfulness? I think the first step is to recognize what the resentment is about. Second is to study, what does resentment mean? It means you're human. It means that you got a lot on you. It means you're doing it all alone. Like, that's normal. I'm not abnormal. I'm not abnormal for feeling the way I feel. I'm not abnormal for resenting Larry. That's what caregivers do. There's a lot of guilt that goes into being a caregiver, especially when you have resentfulness. Am I making the right decision? I wished I was strong enough. All those things that come with being a caregiver. But recognizing it, studying it, knowing you're normal, but how do you go through life? I feel like, now this is me personally, I feel like you need to allow yourself to be resentful. It's painful. It's very painful to stand alone at a baby shower and not have anybody to take a picture with. That is, I am mad. I am resentful. That's normal. And I think that if I tried to fight it, I'm a losing battle. Because the things that I'm experiencing with resentfulness is stuff that's real. I think that resentfulness of my parents and being mad at them and all that, I don't think that's ever going to go away because they're never going to be here. I've lost my parents. My mom was 52. It started when I was 17 years old. I was a young girl. You be in high school and your parent be on their deathbed and you're like, well, I live with a single mom. Where am I going? Who's taking care of us? Are we going to have to change schools? That is a lot to deal with. I watched my dad. I've told you guys this before, but when when it was my dad's funeral and we were at the funeral home and it had the sign Fred Waniger this way. I was the first one in the room. And I walked into the room. I was like, this isn't my dad. I'm in the wrong. They've got the wrong. They got the wrong name out here. And I stepped out and I said, this isn't dad. This isn't my dad. They were like, yes, it is. I was like, no, it ain't. I know what my dad looks like. And I walked back in and I got up to the casket and I was like, Dad? He was a skeleton. It's one thing to see your dad dead in a casket, but lung cancer took every meat he had in his body. He was literally a skeleton. He looked like he had anorexia. He was unrecognizable. All from stupid cigarettes. And I was like, oh my gosh. But if I had to get in his shoes and go, well, Judy, you don't know what it's like to smoke, but you know what it's like to have skin cancer. Okay, stay out of the sun, Judy. Wear long sleeves during the summer. If you're going to wear cut off sleeves, your kids are going to say the same thing about you. Mom just don't care about herself. She had melanoma and she's still outside with no sunscreen on, no hat, sleeveless shirts. I mean, she was a death sentence. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't take away the resentment that I feel. But if you're feeling resentfulness, I'm here to tell you that you're normal. It's part of grieving. It doesn't mean you're a bad daughter. It doesn't mean that you're not a good caregiver. It doesn't mean you're not a caregiver. It doesn't mean that. I had one of the backup dancers reach out to me. And right now she's the caregiver of her husband. And she's going through hell. And she was like, he won't let me put him in, he's on hospice. And she said, he won't let me put him in respite. When he goes to respite, he blows up my phone. And I thought, I can relate. I can relate. And I said, I know. I got to the point where it wasn't even worth going to respite because I still didn't get a break. Because I was getting text messages, bring me some barbecue, bring me, these nurses are not like, just, it was a lot. And I told her, she's like, I just need a break. And I said, I get it. And she's like, this is my own husband. Why can't I, why do I feel the way I feel? I said, because you're normal. There is nothing wrong with the way you feel. Every person handles grief differently. Some people can get over it quickly. Some people return into resentment. Some people hold on to it forever. But that's why God made us all different, because we all handle things totally different. And when I read that part of my resentfulness did not mean that I was a bad caregiver or that I'm not a caregiver, it made me feel like I wasn't alone. And I think the resentfulness that I feel is never going to go away. It just has to be managed. When it pops up, I'm going to have to feel the pain. I'm going to have to cry. I'm going to have to call my counselor and start all over again because I'm normal. It's hard. It's hard. And I'm here to tell you that especially during the holiday seasons is when I really feel lonely, especially like I said with a grandbaby coming and I'm sitting there alone or going to a birthday party and I don't have no family to take pictures with, the resentment just creeps back up. It's never going to go away. Just like if there's something that you struggle with, it never goes away. It creeps back up. But you have to learn how to manage it. But I think allowing yourself to cry and feel the pain, because it's going to be painful every time I do it. Like I could go to therapy every day for the rest of my life. And when I go to a family function and I'm sitting there by myself, I'm going to feel pain. That's normal. Anybody would. Anybody's going to feel resentfulness. Anyone's going to feel mad. That's normal. But I think that holding on to it is not normal. It creeping back up is normal. But being resentful every single day and not letting go of it and not dancing, meaning that sitting it out is staying resentful. Dancing is going, hey, this is a bad day. I feel resentful. I feel angry. I need a day to just cry. Sit in my pajamas on the couch, feel sorry for myself because my whole family is dead or on drugs. That's painful. That's not going away. That's going to keep creeping back up because it is painful. But staying in that moment is not normal. That is sitting it out. The tool that you need to put in your pocket is to know where the resentfulness comes from. Know where the anger comes from. Go study it. Go figure out where, talk to yourself, figure out like childhood, where it comes from. Because that's going to get you through not staying stuck in resentfulness. But it is going to creep back up. I would love to tell you that you can go to therapy and you'll never feel it again. That is not true. That is not true. It's going to creep back up. But be gentle on yourself because dancing is also allowing yourself to feel the emotions that you feel because they're real. So you have a choice today. You can sit it out or you can dance. And I hope you dance. I will see y'all Monday. And my video will come out Thursday around 2:45. I love you guys. You're not alone. Bye.